The Forgotten Prophet. The story of Sheath alayhi salam, a prophet born after blood. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most wise. All praise belongs to Allah, the one who guides through storms, who places light in silence, and who raises the patient over the popular. Peace and blessings be upon Muhammad, peace be upon him, and upon every prophet before him, especially the one who was born in a time of grief, raised in a time of temptation, and sent to protect the truth, when the world began to forget it. This is not just a story about a prophet, it is a story about silence in a noisy world, about obedience when no one is watching, and about what happens when desire whispers louder than revelation. This is the story of Sheath alayhi salam, and it begins with blood. The first crime in history. The sun rose one morning, and nothing would ever be the same again. Two sons stood side by side, one righteous, one jealous. Both made offerings to Allah. One gave the best of what he had, the other gave what he didn't want. Allah accepted the sincere and rejected the arrogant. That was all it took. That simple act, one being chosen, the other rejected, unleashed the darkest emotion known to man, jealousy. And in that moment, the very first soul on earth was taken not by illness, not by war, but by hatred. Qabil murdered his brother Habil, and the earth, pure, untouched, and still echoing the beauty of paradise, tasted blood for the very first time. That sound, that silence after the scream, it changed everything. The grief of the first prophet. When the news reached Adam alayhi salam, his knees gave way. His eyes filled with tears no human had ever cried before. Tears of a father. Tears of a prophet. Tears of a man who had seen angels bow before him, now weeping for his murdered son. But the pain didn't end there. The killer, Qabil, fled, ashamed, cursed, and corrupted. He vanished into the unknown, and with him went the last connection to his twin. Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayha salam were left alone. One child buried, one child lost, and a silence that was louder than any scream. It was the first true heartbreak of mankind. Then came a gift, but with a warning. One night, as Hawa alayha salam lay in deep grief, Allah sent mercy once again. A child was born, but this child was different. There was something quiet in him, something pure. He did not cry like the others. He looked around as if he was remembering something beyond this world. Adam alayhi salam held him in his arms, and he named him Sheath, a name that meant gift from Allah. But gifts from Allah are never random. They carry weight. They come with purpose, and they often arrive when the world needs them most. Adam alayhi salam knew this child would not be like the others. He would not be just a son. He would be something more. But he also knew, with such a gift would come a great responsibility, because down in the valleys, something else had begun to rise. Whispers from the valley, far from the mountain where Sheath alayhi salam was raised, in lands once pure. While Sheath alayhi salam remained with the righteous children of Adam, his brother Qabil had already fled far away, setting up his own tribe in the mountains. A society of rebellion, music, beauty, and sin. The children of Sheath lived modestly, worshipped Allah, and upheld the truth. But as time passed, temptation called from the other side. It is said that Shayṭān introduced musical instruments to the people of Qabil. He made sin look fun. He painted falsehood in gold. And slowly, the hearts of some from the righteous line began to drift. Rules, guidance, and revelation. As this danger grew, Sheath alayhi salam was not silent. He was the first prophet to establish social rules, regulating marriage, modesty, inheritance, and justice. He ensured that men and women lived by divine law that blood was not shed, that the pure message of Adam was preserved. Though no Quranic verses mention him by name, his story is preserved in the oral teachings of early Muslims. Imam Suyuti and At-Tabar narrate that Sheath forbade intermarriage between the righteous and sinful tribes, continued to warn his people about Shaytan's deception, was the first to document divine knowledge in written form. Other traditions, a shared memory. The Torah refers to Seth as the appointed son of Adam. In the book of Genesis, it is said, "And Adam begot a son in his likeness, after his image, and named him Seth." Genesis 5:3. Christian and Jewish traditions mention him as the ancestor of Enoch, Idris, and Noah. Ancient texts like the Book of Jubilees and Gnostic scriptures refer to him as a bringer of truth and link him to early wisdom and heavenly knowledge. Some historical theories even suggest that early Egyptian records of a man named Set may have originally been inspired by Seth, though this is not confirmed. The descendants of Qabil were multiplying. They had no prophets, no guidance, no scrolls, only whispers. And Shayṭān, the enemy of mankind, was waiting. He did not appear with horns. He did not come with fire. He came with something far more dangerous: ideas. Why not make life more beautiful? Why not create something that feels exciting? Why should life be so silent, so simple, so boring? And they listened. They carved wood into shapes. They tied reeds into pipes. They struck stones together until it made rhythm. And just like that, the first music was born. The seduction of sound. How music became Shaytan's first trap. While the righteous descendants of Sheath alayhi salam lived in the mountains, fasting by day, worshipping by night, preserving the light of Tawheed, the descendants of Qabil lived far away in the valleys. They had no prophets among them, no divine scrolls, and over time, they began to follow their desires. Their homes were adorned, their clothes grew flashy, their women beautified themselves openly. Their lives became about attraction, art, and pleasure, but none of it was accidental. Shayṭān had a plan. He whispered to them that if they wanted to forget their pain, if they wanted to feel happy again, they should invent a new kind of sound. So they did. They crafted hollow reeds and pipes. They struck stones and wood, and slowly they created the first music. It started with light rhythms, then dancing, then singing, then instruments. And before long, it wasn't just a sound. It became a culture, one of temptation, distraction, desire. The men of the valleys built festivals where the music played louder each time. The women dressed more boldly, and the voices that once called to prayer were now drowned out by songs and drums. The first invitation, mountain meets valley. As time passed, the righteous youth from the mountain grew curious. They would look down from above and ask, "What are they doing? Why do they laugh so much? Why do they seem free?" Shayṭān struck again. He whispered, "Go visit, just once. You won't have to stay. Just look. Just listen." And so they did. Some men from the people of Sheath alayhi salam went down to the valley just to observe. But what they saw captured their hearts. The music, the dancing, the freedom. They stayed longer than they planned. Then they returned. But they came back different, more distracted, more distant, less connected to the scrolls and remembrance. Soon others went and others followed, until the distinction between the mountain and valley began to blur. The warning of Sheath alayhi salam. Sheath alayhi salam gathered his people. He warned them, "This is how it begins. You will not see the fire. You will hear the music first. Then you will see the beauty. Then you will lose the truth." He reminded them that Shayṭān never invites you to sin all at once. He begins with curiosity, then excuses, then habits. the death of a legacy. After living over 900 years, Sheath alayhi salam returned to his Lord. According to some traditions, he was buried alongside Adam and Hawa, peace be upon them both, in a place unknown today, though some say it was near Mount Qasiyun in Syria. His descendants carried the message. Among them came Idris alayhi salam and eventually Nuh alayhi salam. He lived in a time just after paradise had been lost and before the flood would come to cleanse the earth, a torch in the darkness. And so ends the story of a prophet whose name the world barely remembers, but whose impact never stopped. Sheath alayhi salam didn't come with fire from the sky or miracles that split the sea. He came with scrolls, with silence, with the patience to guard truth, while the world slowly forgot it. He stood on the mountaintop and watched as the valleys below drowned in temptation, not because people rejected Allah, but because they let their hearts be led by sound, by desire, by distraction. And yet he never stopped calling, he never stopped teaching, he never stopped believing that even one soul, one child, one follower, one stranger might hold on to the truth after he was gone. And through that effort, the torch stayed lit, because soon another prophet would rise. But this time, not to walk among the people, this time to rise into the heavens. He would not be buried in the ground. He would not vanish into history. He would rise so high that the sky itself would carry his story. In the next episode, we ascend into the story of Idris alayhi salam, the man Allah raised, the prophet of wisdom, writing, and the stars. Until we meet again, stay safe. Take care of your parents, your loved ones, and everyone around you.